Okay, let's see. Backline. Rear.
Isn't this a job
To the front there. How do we want to do this?
I am a navigator, not a servitor. Now you're glad.
Alright, that's 3 of them dead.
An offering of blood. Death comes in silence.
Alright, so I just ran all the way over to him and hit the button to turn the fan back on. So that should get rid of the poison. There we go. Everyone lost poison. Alright, so that's 2. We'll do where it hurts. Reckless abandon.
As honor ordains.
On in, maggot.
I will not die in dishonor.
Alright, Pascal's turn. Why is it not letting me choose anything? Alright. Is it, maybe it's a line of sight issue?
Heavy is the tread of his faithful. Abide in the host of blessed creations of the Omniscient.
Okay. Let's see. Obstruct vision.
Tech familiar activated.
Okay, and put bait on him.
Actors for tech familiar unit. Let's get to it.
Frenzy, frenzy.
That is not the Emperor's will.
Very surprised she can't shoot from there.
Doubt is for the weak.
Let's see. Run and gun.
Commands I act. Guided by faith. This is why I was chosen.
Alright, entrench. Okay, let's relocate the bird here. And buff 1, buff 2.
On it.
Show me what you've got.
I saw bait go off there. Let's see, how do we want to do this?
What if?
Okay, Mastiff gets a kill. Alright, taunt those. Tell the dog to go crazy. Temp wounds. I never noticed that Shield Bash was 0 AP until this moment. I didn't realize that was a free move. Alright, dog gets another hit. Let's see. Can you reach the boss with a warp curse from here? No, you cannot. Alright.
I I'm not accustomed to being ordered.
Alright, let's just
around.
double tap that guy.
I try to die with grace and
Get him
peace.
out of here.
Isn't this a job for the serfs?
Of him.
If I may, if only that were possible.
I feel nothing. Fear nothing.
Alright, let's use... Where it hurts. Captive audience. And Death Waltz on the boss.
The wicked be shed as thou hast willed.
Which I think is just gonna kill him. Because Death Waltz is stupid.
Another side awaits. I bring
This is
mercy to
actually
nation.
a busted skill. How many stacks of bait does he still have? He still has 5. Alright, let's do... land there.
blessed creations of the Messiah. Setting target.
Dude, who needs a gun when you could just remote control an angry bird? An angry robot murder... There it goes, it just killed another one.
As the Emperor commands, I act. Doubt is for the weak. None can escape the Emperor's judgment.
Let's see. Evil Eye. Let's try this out. Put this here.
Command again?
Evil Eye.
All right.
Eh. It does do the stacking debuff, but so in a longer fight maybe that, but for just like a little dude, probably would have been better just to use Psychic Shriek.
Let's see what you can do.
A new note in discordant melody.
Dog could not quite reach there.
A genius at work.
There we go. Okay, cool. I was a little nervous about that fight, but I underestimated the mobility of our Blade Dancer. Her being able to just run over to the console and turn off the poison fan immediately was something.
Sings in my veins.
That was something else. Alright, box of goods. What do we got? Adrenaline War Boots. At the start of the wearer's turn, they gain 20% dodge till the end of the round. So, good if you've got really good initiative, so you go earlier in the turn. Hand Flamer. Let's see. Chainmail. Anver Chainsword. Pirate's Eye Patch. Medicae. Alright. Every time I watch your stream, my bearded dragon goes nuts. He likes your voice or something. He literally licks the screen where your face is. Either he likes you or he wants to eat you. He's like, are you a bug? Because you're looking like a snack.
I am the
Multi-key.
thread.
Nice to know that my my fandom spans multiple species. I have been sent a picture before of someone who had like a pet cat, and their cat was pawing at the screen where I was. But I've never been told I was hitting that bearded dragon audience. Party potato? There you go. This will confuse the bearded dragon even more.
My warp sight reveals something.
Rising sun symbol. Rising sun symbol.
They will see.
There.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Roger, Sean Trumbull.
We'll see.
Let's see. Now he wants nothing to do with the party potato.
See, right there.
Rising sun symbol.
One step at a time.
Not a single Anver's attack has been reported lately. Behave yourselves. Right then, what have we got here? Double rations for you and your husband. I thought your husband kicked the bucket. People in the crowd look greedily at goods for which they have neither coupons nor money. Do you guys see this? It's like there's a box. There's an outline of a box, but it's like clipping into the ground. I can't actually click on the box. The indistinct hum of discontented voices hangs over the crowd. The street vendors seem to be lacking some essentials. And in their impotence, the people do not hold back their angry exclamations and curses.
Lies beyond.
Pay attention.
Good evening, Muck and Chat. Mukluk, hi.
Good evening, Janchucks. Hello. Welcome. Rising Sean Symbol. Exterminator Brigade Sergeant. Greetings, sir. What brings you here? Did you want to watch us break our backs out here, eh? Footfall Utility Crew 3 is proud to work for the good of the denizens and guests of the station. The man winks and salutes you with his flamer. What are you doing? Just burning rats, and some trash, and some parasites of other sorts. The district's under quarantine, you see. It got hit by something nasty. A disease. Maybe it isn't a disease. Maybe it's just some bugs and worms what crawled out of some ship or whatever. It's a bit odd that it's happened here, not at the docks, I'll grant you. Things like that usually start here. They even spray the place with some gunk to kill all the bugs and worms, but I guess something slipped through. 2 families in that block way over there snuffed it, and the leech wasted no time getting the district surrounded so that nobody could leave. How exactly did the victims die? Who knows? They found them in their hovels already dead, blue sores on their bodies, and they stank something awful, which is why a lot of them didn't even risk looting the corpses. Good on them, I guess. Doesn't mean we let them out, of course. So you don't know exactly what happened in the district? Disease, bugs, or something else? No, we don't. And we don't want to find out. If there's something nasty cropped up, the right move is to contain it and kill it with fire. Not go in there and see why it's there. You should change the texture of the potato to something more wooden. Ha. You know, I actually wonder, hang on a sec. Search Warhammer. Oh, no, I don't have any Warhammer filters. I tried. Okay. Where were we? Meh. Let's see. What measures have been taken to deal with the problem? You're looking at them. We stand here, burn the foulness, and we've got people standing guard so no one escapes. Put some mines down, a whole lot of them, for the same reasons. The water, the sewers, all blocked off to stop any communications getting out. The air's open, I suppose, but the foulness doesn't seem to be airborne. There haven't been any strange deaths outside the district. Carry on, remain vigilant. He's like, don't worry, boss, we're doing a good job murdering.
There will be no peace in my wake.
I wonder how often that joke was made. You were the first person ever. The small nook in the stone is empty apart from dust and a few scraps of paper. There's evidence that a cache that once had a small door covering it and a locking mechanism. Is there a warehouse? Hold on. Where is... Okay, I think this here is where Jay is. I want to get the quest for Jay, because we never got her to join the party last time. For any new folks, this is our second playthrough of the game, but in my first playthrough of the game, my quest with her, I either did a quest in a wrong order and then I couldn't finish her quest, or there was a glitch, I don't know which, but she was like a party member that I was never able to get to join. She's like a pirate or something. They're being helped in the Warhammer 40k way? Yeah. I mean, remember, humanity numbers in the trillions, so there's a lot of spares. I think you never talked to her. No, I definitely talked to her. But, it's just... I didn't finish her quest line or whatever. Like, you can't not talk to her. It's like part of the, MSQ.
Nice little spot. It's good to see folks enjoying themselves. Even the air in here feels nicer to breathe.
An entire establishment dedicated to unproductive and parasitical pursuits. A waste of station space.
Under the floor, you could see the remains of the void ship's life support system. It seems that whoever dismantled the vessel decided to just leave it in place.
Curiosity sings in my
Cluster right there.
veins.
Pascal, can you lockpick that?
Operation successful.
Yoink. There she is.
Rough day.
Oh my gosh, voice acting.
You have no idea. I just might. That's the second bottle you've downed.
Jai Hidari. Falco sends his regards.
And what does that unholy scion of a Grox and a Brahan want from me this time? Oh, wait, I don't really care. My sole plans for tonight are drowning my grief in a sea of Amasak.
We'll give you grief, all right. Get out!
Are these guys stormtroopers? They just unloaded like 80 rounds
Falco to come himself next
from
time.
5 feet away. And they all missed.
Dari, I am tired of your mess. Out! Get some sleep. We'll talk about settling up later.
Okti Shireen, light of my eyes. Can't you see my soul is full of sadness? Have you no heart at all? Let go of your material concerns and let me grieve in peace. Have we met somewhere before?
The woman looks at you with the glassy eyes of a drunk, and you notice the 2 empty bottles that have been keeping her company before you arrived. She looks completely out of place in this dingy, smoky bar. The fancy attire, the abundance of jewelry, the implants plated with precious metals, her appearance not only screams wealth, but also audacity. For only an audacious person would flaunt their wealth at a place like this.
Greetings, Shireen. With whom do I have the honor of speaking?
She smiles somewhat groggily as she examines you over the glass that is raised to her lips. I am Mukluk, trade envoy of House von Valancius.
Well then, here's to our meeting. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that you're someone special, since you've been granted an audience with the Liege of Footfall himself. It's always a pleasure to make the acquaintance of someone powerful. And the timing couldn't be better.
Cylindria says, I'll warn you, my husband spent a lot of time kicking Jay out of his bedroom. She has some very specific ideas about what she wants from the Rogue Trader. On my first playthrough, I romanced the Navigator. She was sweet. This one I was going to, someone told me that Kizbala, well, you could romance, the crazy knife lady. So I was like, you know, there's no way I can fix her, but whatever's wrong with her is way hotter. So, I was going to romance her if that was an option this time. I didn't even consider Jay as an option.
Jai Haidari at your service. Professional trader, shrewd commercial broker, and, may he steal my tongue if I'm lying, the most honest dealer on Footfall. Nonetheless, we all have our problems, and at times even one's many merits aren't enough to solve them. Perhaps it would be no trouble for a person with your kind of power and standing to assist someone with my kind of predicament. I have heard a great deal about how open-minded the members of the von Valancius dynasty are, and Lady Theodora especially.
Let's just say it doesn't matter if you are considering Jay as an option, she considers the Rogue Trader an option. So she's rolling to seduce me. Okay, got it. What do you need help with?
You see, Shireen, there's one cardinal rule on Footfall. Anything goes as long as it doesn't get in the way of business. I'm someone who's been able to exploit that rule to the fullest. And in recent years, I've hit it so big, I've become a speck of sand in someone's green eye. They used to throw small wrenches into my dealings here and there. Well, now they've decided to really put their backs into it. Some rats stolen my cargo and dragged it off to the seediest part of the Shadow Quarters. A crummy place even for connoisseurs of Footfall's unique atmosphere. When I asked the Liege for protection, we had a mutual misunderstanding.
A mutual
Hidarian,
misunderstanding.
in most lamentable fashion, has forgotten his duties as guardian of the downtrodden and wronged. So I'm in desperate need of a new one. And you, Shireen, fit the bill perfectly. All I need is for you to drop by one dark corner of Footfall's Shadow Quarters and pound it into the thieves' heads that taking Hidari's property carries certain risks.
Commerce test succeeded. Jay appears to be a serious operator on Footfall. The Liege's refusals to help means the loss of a potential ally, so Jay's encroaching on his turf. If Ladame is not responsible for the disappearance of Jay's cargo, he will certainly benefit greatly from it. If the Liege is neglecting his duties, then I shall become your patron.
May the Exalted One bless you and your progeny. Then here's what we'll do. We shouldn't be seen together before we make it to the safe house. I'll head there first. I'll take my own special route so I won't be spotted.
Oh, a special route.
Right. Here, that's where those ashmags are keeping the stolen cargo. Out the bar, over the bridge, and to the left. There in the depths you'll find a small courtyard, through which you can get to the place. I'll be waiting nearby. You can come when it suits you, but the sooner you do, the better. I'll see you then, Shireen.
Okay. Yoink!
One step at a time, amidst them.
Yeah, I remember doing this quest for her, where you, like, fight in the warehouse and get her cargo back. But I don't remember what happened after that, but I never got her to join my crew. Carouse.
Genius.
The decanter used to contain a cheap amasec, which for the sake of attractiveness has been enriched with a deodorizing agent. Leftovers of pitiful food are stuck to the sides of the plates. Gordai Skatov. The flabby man in worn clothes is sighing sadly over a glass of murky booze. Only when he looks up at you do you notice his eyes, large, piercing, and full of sorrow, a stark contrast to his unkempt appearance. Could it be that someone actually wishes to keep me company? Allow me to introduce myself. Gordai Skatov, an architectural historian. You look deeply despondent over something. What happened? Here I go again, pouring my heart out to have you disappear in 10 minutes just like everyone else before you. But alright, here is the story of Gordai Skatov, the unluckiest historian in the Imperium. I was born 2 sectors away from here. My family was quite influential, which allowed me to dedicate myself to my great passion, the history of Imperium architecture. I spent a number of years studying every scholarly work there was to find on this art, and then, once I had inherited my family's fortune, I traveled and documented the development of architectural thought on different worlds. Until one day, oh, that accursed blessed day, until one day I came into possession of something quite special. Gordai pulls what looks like a book or an album with a homemade leather cover out of his bag. Both the pages and the binding look well worn. Here it is, My Undoing, an authentic booklet titled Dwayne's Design, one of the thousands that were printed centuries ago in the time of Footfall's construction. What a curious read. Please, tell us more. As Cassia takes a shy step forward, Gordai smiles and shows her some of the faded pages. Footfall's founder, Lord Parsimus, was obsessed with his creation's grand future. This booklet describes in detail what Footfall was meant to become upon its completion. Dozens of asteroids turned into glorious palaces and temples, massive bridges spanning the void itself, and the marvelous flying buttresses, the archivolts of the exterior arches, the elegant arrangement of balusters, and the interior. Polyphorous 10 stories tall and more than a kilometer long. Cyclopean light tubes that catch the light of Furibundus and use it to brighten the halls of the hearts of the... Excuse me. Brighten the halls of the hearts of the asteroids. Stained glass windows and mosaics, bas-reliefs, and statues. Engrossed in his own description, Gordai stands up and starts tracing the outlines of arches and galleries with his hand. Adira blinks sleepily, barely suppresses a yawn, and starts looking around with a bored expression. Let's see. Faith says, so it seems this is similar to Baldur's Gate 3. What's the main difference between Baldur's Gate 3 and this? Okay, so both of them are definitely under the same genre of game. They are both what's called a classic RPG, or CRPG for short. Very heavy basis on story, probably turn-based combat, and, you know, the decisions you make in conversations are just as important as how you win a fight. Often in these games, there are many different ways of handling situations, you know, like, you know, getting someone drunk, or picking their pocket, or just shooting them outright, or following them, things like that. Now, this game is quite different from BG3. One, they didn't have as many voice actors for this game, so there is quite a bit of reading, if that, you know, if that bothers you. The setting, Warhammer 40k versus just standard fantasy. This one's not D20. It's more like D100. It just tells you percentage chances, right? Like, if you go to use a move on an enemy and it doesn't have a percentage chance, it's going to work. But if you go to use a move on an enemy and it says, like, you know 70% chance that this shot will hit them, or they're behind cover, you know, there's a little bit of XCOM in the combat of this game, where you can, like, hide behind cover and stuff like that in order to increase defense. Keep listening. Emerging from his reverie, he catches himself, blushes slightly, and loudly flops back onto his seat. I apologize. I got carried away. But you must understand how deep an impression this booklet left on me when my young self picked it up. I simply couldn't think about anything other than Footfall. I was ready to give my life just to see this incredible station. And of course, no matter how hard my friends and loved ones tried to dissuade me, I still gathered all my savings and set out on a journey. It was no easy feat to cross 2 sectors, especially for a common citizen, albeit one with some resources at his disposal. I had to change one ship for another, at times being forced to stay on transfer worlds, waiting for a vessel headed in the right direction, or for warp disturbances to subside. The voyage took me a total of 107 years. In real space-time, of course. For me, it was much less than that, somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 or 35 years. And then, after all those years, having spent all my savings, I reached my dream. And what did I see? A dump in place of this exquisite portico, metal anthills clinging to the columns, the marble tiles pilfered by paupers to use as cladding for their hovels. Gorday hangs his head. It's been a dozen years since I came here and I still haven't recovered from the shock. I have suspected that not everything from the booklet would exist in reality, but I never expected to see Footfall in such a starry state. It's like stumbling upon the horrible decomposing corpse of your beautiful beloved. Argenta's gaze darkens. The warp, like a shameless thief, is guilty of stealing the short span allotted to his servants. But what sense is there in spending half your life on such an enterprise, only to then lose your spirit and waste the remaining half on nothing at all? Now, she already lost a few decades to the warp, so this hits close to home for her. So then ink and paper can too lie and cause pain. Cassia sighed sadly. Does this mean that all I have ever read about will one day disappoint me with the ugliness of reality? But you're an architectural historian. Is what happened to Footfall not part of its history? Gorday strokes his goatee in thought. Yes, Footfall's current appearance, slums fused together with the remains of majestic palaces, is a unique phenomenon. I would be curious to observe if other places have taken after it, thereby solidifying it as a new style of architecture, or if it still remains a local oddity. My word, you certainly know how to provide an unexpected perspective on things. Be that as it may, I just wanted to say thank you for hearing me out. Over the dozen years I spent on Footfall, not one person has hung around long enough to listen to my story to the end. It's such a delight to have shared everything that's been weighing on my mind. I'm poor as a church mouse, but I still have something to offer you as a token of my appreciation. After studying the booklet thoroughly, I discovered something interesting. A ciphered message scattered throughout its pages. Taking the form of a riddle, it describes certain places of interest on Footfall. I believe it is the work of the book's creators. What if these riddles lead to something? A wondrous discovery? I would gladly share what I've been able to learn with you. Riddles! A flash of burning, almost childish curiosity brightens Cassia's austere countenance. Have you not tried to make this wondrous discovery for yourself? I have, of course, but I'm an old man who is blind in one eye and can barely move his legs. I never found anything, but that doesn't mean there's nothing to find. Tell me about these places these riddles lead to. The first location from the riddles isn't far from here. It's a bridge